Throughout this season, it feels like we were only seeing one side to Kyo. Yeah, he's a hot-headed guy, but what made him like that? He is one of the main leads of this whole show, but we barely have scratched the surface on his character. Yuki's past is put on display multiple times in the past, but not every Kyo's. Episode 24 finally opened a page into his emotional world. We basically get to see a whole new Kyo. He expresses anger, happiness, and grief in the most emotional ways possible. I can't begin to put into words how episode 24 really stood out as a gem above the rest. This is truly the best episode this whole season has to offer. If you haven't seen episode 24, then I highly advocate that you go watch it. Immediately, in fact. The original ends with this last arc, so this is the end of the road for the Fruits Basket comparisons. As a finale, I'm going to make this one extra special for you guys. No matter what the future holds, I will cherish this moment and every single one of you guys that took the time out of your precious day to watch a degenerate like me ramble. I won't keep you guys much longer. I'm BriThi, your local degenerate, and in today's video we're going to compare the final episode of the original to episode 24 of the remake. Just like my prior videos, I have some info to hit you with before the comparisons come rolling in. The original had time to really develop this arc and add in their personal touches to these scenes. They had 3 episodes to fill, so there will be a lot of extra things in the original. So if the remake side of things feels rushed compared to the original, that is a big reason why. For me, I feel like the remake was a little rushed, but they did wonderfully with the time they were given. I have to say the original was so much more dramatic and heart-wrenching just because of all the things they put in there. It feels like they were really aiming to take your heart and just rip it out of your chest. Well, now that you know that, let's get this show on the road. Enter Scene 1.
Tohru君、この方は相馬一馬殿。京君の師匠であると同時に、ユキ君や神楽、ハー君たちにも武術を教えた先生なんだよ。
そうだったのですか。
トールさんとお呼びしてもよろしいですか。
はい、はじめまして、本田トールです。
そうですか。あなたが。お噂は金がね、十二支のこともご存知だそうで。
はい。
京君、そんな端にいないで挨拶したらどうだい？君も去年の山ごもり以来なんでしょ？再会できて嬉しくないのかい？ちげえ！
Kyo, you're a Cinderella until the very end, aren't you? One key thing I want to point out in this scene was how dark everything was in the original. The room, the sky, and everything else in between is darkened. They didn't even try to fake you out. They basically telegraphed, "You're in for a rough one, kid. Hope you're ready." While the remake has the stormy foreground, the scenes aren't as darkened as the originals were. When the camera flashes over Kyo's bracelet, there was a subtle difference. That being that Kyo covered it with his other hand when the curse was brought up in the remake, but not in the original. This is pretty important because this was a subtle way of telling the viewers what was to come. This bracelet is a symbol of Kyo's insecurity to his true form. He has been hiding behind it this whole series. So when he covered it up with his hand, he is showing his insecurity by hiding the only thing that would bring out his true form. It's a small detail, but one I thought I should point out. Besides that, everything is practically the same. One thing I thought was funny was how much longer Kazuma's hair is in the original compared to the remake. But let's continue on.
今日入るよ。
師匠、ごめん。態度悪くて。
大丈夫。分かっているよ。
おかえり。おかえり、師匠。
ただいま。
This scene felt so heartwarming to me. This is the first time we really get a look at what Kyo is like with someone he's very close with. Yes, he's close with Tohru, but it's different with Kazuma. The way he smiles in this scene is something I haven't seen from him before in the series. It kind of brought a tear to my eye. Kyo and all the other Somas deserve to be happy after everything this curse has put them through. When Kyo attacks Kazuma, it isn't an act of aggression, but a sign of how close the two are with each other. This was a form of greeting that only these two characters share. You can easily tell when the two are laughing right after. This felt so much more natural than the two just speaking to each other once again. Kyo was probably still testing his master if he still had it in him after such a long time. It's funny and kinda cute how Kyo couldn't show these kind warm feelings in front of Yuki. It really feels like a special moment because this scene is something that is only happening when the two are alone. The only difference between the original and the remake is that Kazuma was examining the books Kyo had before his greeting.
これで師匠の修行の旅も終わったんだな。
そうだね。これ以上道場を開けておくわけにもいかないからね。
じゃあ俺も道場に帰っていいんだな。そう約束したもんな。
お前はここで暮らしていくんだ。
なんだよ、約束破るのかよ。師匠もアキトが怖いのかよ。
違うよ。お前にとって一番最良な環境と判断したからだよ。あの子と暮らすことになったのが偶然にしろ必然にしろ、お前にとって癒しになるなら。
師匠、俺はここが嫌なんだよ。ぬるま湯みたいでふやけてくみたいで、時々すごく嫌でたまらなくなる。俺は癒されることなんて望んでない。嫌なんだよ。
そうではないだろう。嫌なのではなく。
This scene gave me a grasp of how great of a father figure Kazuma is. He knows what is best for his son and he wants to put him in the best environment possible for him to mature and grow. You can really tell that this decision pains him as well. He isn't happy, but he is stern and serious. This is the son he's been raising since he was a little boy. Of course he wants to be with him, but Kazuma values his success more than his happiness. Another thing that really made him a great father figure in my mind was how easily he was able to read through Kyo's feelings. Kyo complains how he hates Shigure's household and everyone in it, but Kazuma knows this isn't true at all. When Kyo proclaims he hates it here, look at his face. He turns away from Kazuma because I feel like if he looked him in the eyes, Kyo knows he would easily see through his facade. Alright, now here are a few differences between both versions. So in the original, when Kyo brought up him returning to the dojo, we get a little flashback of the promise Kazuma made. One cool thing that both versions did was their take on Kyo's facial expressions. In the remake, I think they did his happy expressions fantastically. The original, however, took his angry facial expressions to a whole nother level. You can really feel how hurt Kyo was over this decision in the original. Just a fantastic scene all the way around.
彼女に全てを委ねてしまわれるのか。カズマ殿、あなたまで。ですが成功するとは限らない。今度こそ今日が壊れる可能性もある。あなたすら憎み、もう二度と笑いかけてくれぬかも。それでも万に一つにかけるのですか。
うわー、なんだよこれ。どうしたらこんな風になるんだ。師匠って本当にこういうのダメだよな。
私もまだまだ修行が足りないということだね。それでもかけてみたい。彼女に。
The fact that Kazuma is able to place faith in Tohru so quickly is a testament to her kindness and how it can change others. It really breaks my heart how Kagura had to be the one that overheard this conversation though. She loves Kyo and wants to help him. She knows about his curse but is powerless to do anything about it. So when she overhears that Tohru is the one that can possibly fix what she cannot, it must have been heart-wrenching. I can understand why she left before they could finish speaking. It really gets you invested in her struggle. Another thing that got me really invested was the flashback of Kazuma and Kyo. It played when Shigure brought up that Kyo might never smile again. This flashback was important because this is what Kazuma values dearly, his son's happiness. You can feel how heavy it weighs on his heart when he lays his head down. As a father, he really has to make the difficult choice for the betterment of Kyo. God, this man is such a good dad. Give him an award. In these two scenes, the color contrast was very different between the two versions. In the remake, the scene was during a sunset while the original went for a dark storm. The sunset in the remake represents how the good times that Kyo has been experiencing until now is going to set, and it is time for him to face his real inner fear. The dark storm represents the inner turmoil that he's facing currently and foreshadows the events to come. This use of background is very important because they each give off their own message of future events. Speaking of future events, let's move on.
そろそろ本来の姿のこともきちんと受け止めなくては前に進めぬよ。
受け止めてるよ。俺の人生は猫つきとして生まれた時点で終わってる代物なんだってね。それがネズミのあいつのせいだってことも、あいつがそもそもの元凶だってことも。あいつのせいだ。あいつが悪いんだ。あいつを殺して俺も死んでやる。そうすりゃ満足なんだろ。俺も死ねばお前は満足なんだろ。
Confrontation with your biggest fears is one of the most soul-crushing experiences ever. So one big thing that was missing in the original is the flashback of Kyo releasing his anger at his father. He yells saying that this is all Yuki's fault and that their death would satisfy him. This part shows just where this excuse of hating Yuki stems from. His hate for Yuki / the rat spirit stems from his own anger of losing his mother and from his disgust from his true form. I just love his facial expressions in this flashback as well. You can feel all of his rage just by looking at his face. One last thing I want to point out about this flashback is how Kazuma's face is not blacked out while Kyo's real father is. This shows just how even in Kyo's mind at this point Kazuma was more of a father than his real biological one. Instead of the flashback, the original put in a long pause when the rain begins to fall. This was missing because the original did not have the first part of his mother's funeral at the beginning of the episode like the remake did.
お前は言ったな。ここが嫌だと。だが違う。お前は逃げようとしているだけだよ。ぬるま湯と称した温かいものが自分を癒していくのがわかる。だが本当のこと、本来の姿を知られたくはない。知られて失うのが怖い。その曖昧な状況からお前は逃げようとしているだけなんだよ。ならば私はその逃げる手を取ろう。失うか失わざるか、その結果を導こう。今日お前の人生は本当に終わっている代物なのかどうか。
大丈夫。私はあなたを愛しているから。だから誰にも見せない。誰も見ないで。私の子供。見ないで。見ないで。気持ち悪い。
The emotion in this one scene was astounding. Kazuma really laid down the law with Kyo. He pulled out everything he wanted to hide and brought it to light. The differences in this scene are far and few between. The only real difference is the obvious visual upgrade that the remake had. I have to say that the individual rain droplets made this scene absolutely stunning. It shows how fast everything was happening around them. I just want to give a hand to the animation team because they really showed out this episode. You saw how hard this decision was for Kazuma earlier, and to see him be this aggressive and forward with this plan is honestly astounding. This is a decision that he knows is going to hurt Kyo, but he is charging straight in. When Kyo turned to see Tohru there, the shock on his face was so horrifying. A cool little detail I noticed was at the end of this scene in the remake. It is the shot of the umbrella Tohru was holding fly into the air. This actually mimics the opening when Tohru throws her umbrella in the air. A cool little cameo from the opening.
体が醜くひしゃげてるよ。それになんてひどい匂いなの。何かが腐っている匂い。これが猫のもののけの。本来の姿。気持ち悪い。見られた。
The latter half of this episode was given a full-blown episode in the original, so there are going to be plenty of differences from here on out. I have to give credit where credit is due. Everything about this scene in the original was above and beyond. The way the beads were used to transition the scenes was genius. I love the way the shot changed to Akito's reaction of seeing Kyo's true form for the first time as the beads flew through the air. I also have to point out how pivotal Akito was to this scene to really get across how disgusting this form is. I'll be honest, I didn't think Kyo's true form was that bad, but what really got me was how Akito described how it smelled. That actually made me kinda gag a bit. Both scenes animated the transformation a bit differently. To cut costs a bit, most of the transformation in the original was covered in a deep white mist. The The remake just showed the transformation in vivid detail. Another really cool transition the original did was when the beads hit the ground, the scene faded from the flashback back to reality. One last thing I want to point out in this scene was the people that could stand to look at Kyo's true form. Yuki and Shigure are looking away, unable to face it, while Kazuma, Kagura, and Tohru are. This really is great storytelling because it measures how close each character in this scene is to Kyo. Those with a great deep bond face this form with their eyes open while the others hide and look away. This scene brought Tohru back to Earth, I feel like. If everyone around her is so disgusted and torn at this true form, it is only reasonable that Tohru is affected in some shape or form. Throughout this whole series, Tohru has felt like an angel that can fix any problem thrown her way and handle anything. But when she threw up and let her feelings erupt, she came back down to Earth. This is a powerful moment all around. By the way, I just love the trope of anime characters falling as they run to get to an impactful moment. Truly a mainstay of the genre. So the remake packed Tohru's inner thoughts into this moment while the original had her anguish the moment. We learned that even Tohru is confused on what the right call to make here is, but she forgoes this confusion and trudges on. This insight on how she is thinking and feeling at this moment was great. The original really made it look like she was suffering, and it made me genuinely shiver. This was also sudden, so it must weigh heavily on her mind. On one side we see how she feels on the outside, while on the other we see how she feels on the inside. I love this because we get this duality between the original and the remake. Before continuing on, I have to speak on several events that occurred in the original but are missing in the remake. These scenes are big motivators for Tohru to press forward in her decision to save Kyo. This is important because it shows weakness and doubt in her at this moment, which is very reasonable given the circumstances. I very much like how these scenes were added. This is a big moment for Tohru to just dive into. I understand though that the remake had only one episode for this moment to occur and the original had several. This is just one of the tiny things you miss if you don't watch the original. Let me tell you, these scenes are absolutely stunning. I'll speak very briefly on what occurred. Tohru meets Akito in the woods where they mock her inability to do anything. This is crazy because how the hell did Akito happen to be in the woods at the exact moment? Good to know they are still evil though. Then Shigure arrives to apologize to Tohru for everything that has transpired. This feels so different from the Shigure in the remake though. It's kinda strange. Next we get an emotional scene with Arisa and Hanajima. I can't begin to tell you how emotional this scene got me. It was so powerful. These scenes are amazing in their own right, so I highly recommend you go watch the last 3 episodes of the original if you haven't already. But anyway, let's continue with the final arc of this episode.
私だけはあなたを愛しているからあなたを愛しているからあなたはちゃんとした人間よ大丈夫私は少しも怖くなんてないわ
君は本当は怖かったんだろうだから日に何十回も俺の術が外れたりしないか確かめたんだろう
あなたは私の自慢の息子よ
だったらなんで俺を外に出そうとしなかったんだ
可愛いから誰にも見せてあげないの
恥ずかしかったんだろう
いいえ大好きよあなたのためなら死んでもいいもの
なんでそんなことばかり言うんだ本当の俺を認めてもくれないでそんな母親らしいことばかりひけらかして
母さんは誰よりもお前を愛していたんだぞ
Ah, my heart, please. It's kind of amazing how at such a young age Kyo was able to see through his own mother's facade. I love how the image of Kyo's mother constantly checking his wrist is shown over and over again. This shows a possible hint to how Kyo is able to see through his mother. She checks over and over again to see that this monstrous form is in check, to make sure she is safe from it. Even though she presses her son's hand to her face to show love, she is using the hand with the beads on them. This act shows what she really loves are the beads on his wrist more than her son. The longer Kyo lived, the more signs he saw that his mother's words were lies. He never went outside despite the fact that she said she was proud of him. She had to isolate him from the world because she was ashamed. All her words were merely a false facade. Her actions spoke more truth than her words ever did. The big difference between the original and the remake in this scene is mainly the budget. The backgrounds are enhanced greatly. The plain white background in the original is replaced with a faded house background. Each time Kyo's mother pulled his sleeve up to look at the beach, she was given a new outfit every time. This level of detail was a luxury that the remake could afford. Both versions still hit a home run with their take on this tragic story.
やめろ、話せ。嫌です。わかるよ。わかりません。話せよ。怖いです。今のキョウ君は声をお聞きしてもキョウ君ではないみたいで、見たこともないお姿で怖いです。でもこれからはちゃんと分かっていきたい。これからはキョウ君が私の弱音をちゃんと聞いてくださるように、キョウ君の弱音も私に聞かせてほしい。辛いことも怖いことも弱いこともちゃんと教えてほしい。悩ませてほしい。一緒に暮らしていきたいから。ご飯食べたり勉強したり悩んだり、そんな風にこれからも一緒に過ごしたいんです。
I didn't really know how I wanted to approach this scene because there is just so much to talk about. I'll start with the differences. First of all, we have to look at Tohru. In the original, she is barely able to stand as she charges towards Kyo. In the remake though, after she takes some time to gather her strength, she runs in with so much determination in her eyes. The animation of her running to Kyo made me shiver. You can really feel how much she cares. It shows in her footsteps and in her eyes. God, I just love Tohru so much. When she grabs onto Kyo, there's a stark difference as well. Due to her being exhausted at this point in the original, she grabs onto Kyo gently and asks him softly if he would go back home. On the other hand, she runs up and grabs onto him and holds on with all her might. When Kyo started panicking and throwing Tohru around, you can see that Yuki is also present in the original. He is not there to help in the remake. I personally love Yuki being there because he is showing that even though the two fight, he really cares for Kyo and wants him to be better. Also, he is able to take some of the brunt damage that Kyo is lashing out. It seems so wrong to be throwing this weakened Tohru around like that. I'm surprised with how weak she was that she was able to hold on, honestly. Tohru admits she's scared. This is so powerful to Kyo. His mother always said he was alright and that nothing was wrong, but he knows this isn't true. He wants her to admit that she is scared because that would acknowledge the problem. Then they can move forward together. When Tohru admitted she is scared, she is doing what his mother couldn't. This one bit of dialogue was so impactful to how things played out. After listening to the rest of Tohru's speech, I had to let out a good cry. My heart has gone through too much to handle this. Alright, now on to the final scene.
醜い姿を愛してくれなくても、それでも一緒に生きていこうって。バカみたいだ。そんなこと誰も口にはしてくれないって思ってた。トルどうしてお前はそうやって 今一番欲しい言葉をくれるんだろう。どうしてお前みたいなやつが俺のそばにいて泣いてくれるんだろう。
Seeing Kyo really be honest and upfront with his feelings is so endearing for his character. For so long we barely knew anything about him. To see him come this far and really lay it all out there was great for his character. That moment when we looked through Kyo's eyes at Tohru's face was a fantastic shot. I love seeing how much of a mess she looks because it shows everything she has gone through to help Kyo get through his pain and anguish. Even though Tohru is a mess in this shot, I have to say she is still stunning nonetheless. Alright, be honest now, how many of you non-manga readers thought Kyo was going in for a big kiss rather than a hug? I'll be honest, I thought he was going in for a kiss. I was thinking, wow Kyo, we're being real bold today, huh? Even if he didn't, that was still the most heartwarming hug I've ever seen. I think this hug really symbolizes Kyo finally opening up about his feelings. This is that step forward that Kazuma wanted Kyo to take. Before this, Kyo would have never hugged Tohru, or probably anyone at that. But she was the first person to show that she cared about him and his true form. That is why he is so easily able to hug Tohru despite the curse turning him into a cat afterwards. The way he rests on her lap, you can tell that he is 100% relaxed. He trusts her so much after this. The sun rises and shines its bright light onto Tohru and Kyo. After these events, they have risen past their demons and are ready to shine brightly once again. This proved that they are more than their demons. Throughout this whole series, demons appear from individuals you wouldn't expect them from. But with a kind hand, they were able to grow and move past them. Fruits Basket has taught me that no matter how deep you are dragged by your demons, you can always kick back and climb back up. You are more than your demons led on to be. You are imperfect and that is okay. Everyone deserves to be loved regardless. Thank you, Fruits Basket, for that. And thank you for watching. Wow, this journey really is at its end. I have to say, after 9 videos, I never got tired talking about Fruits Basket. I loved every minute of it. I'm so sad it's over. These comparisons were something that people loved, and I'm glad I could be the person that delivered that joy. A wise man once said, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." I'll try, Dr. Seuss, I will. When I say thank you for everything you guys have done, I really mean it. Thank you for watching every video I put out. You have made a difference in my life, and I appreciate you endlessly. I try to reply to every comment because it's something you took the time out of your day to write. I try to listen to your feedback because it's important. I try to make these as well edited as possible. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I'm just rambling at this point. I don't know what the future will hold and what content I'll bring to you next, but just know I'll try my best. To those of you that decide to get off this right now that these videos are over, I just want to say, have a good one. Stay safe out there. And to those that stick around, thank you for everything. I'll do my best. Well, that's it from me. I'm BriThi, your local sad degenerate, signing off. Sayonara, my dear friends.